Great legal mind we have, especially on constitutional law. So sometimes we're required to handle certain bills that some of our folks want us just sort of knock a few edges off the Constitution. And Alex has certainly been a great voice for constitutional rights. Next, Mr. Cook.
I'm Kevin Cook, represent District 18. That is a portion of Carroll and Haralson County. I've spent a brief time in law enforcement myself, and have always enjoyed in my time in the House serving on this committee, and look forward to working with each of you, and especially you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Ms. Frazier.
Yes, sir. Represent Ms. Florida Frazier. I represent the great states of Augusta and Berkeley County states. And I have been serving on public safety now for 9 years.
A veteran. Is Representative Glanton here today? All right. Mr. Green, senior member and close to being the Dean of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. But I was very young when I came.
So you're not going to say us how young?
That's a birthday there. You know, I represent District 151, which is just about all of Southwest Georgia down there, and it's an honor and a pleasure to once again be on public safety and be with my old friend Chairman. And the reason I have to stay on this is because I get stopped so much in Southwest Georgia.
And the camera may be off. Mr. Hightower.
Dusty Hightower, represent District 68, which encompasses Carroll County and parts of Douglas County. Been on this committee since I was first elected in 2012, and really enjoy it. I prosecute for 2 cities. I prosecute for 2 cities for about 6 years now. Also do criminal defense work. Got to really know the chairman a lot better last year, along with a couple other members on this bill, or this committee, working on the gun bill last year. Y'all might have heard a little bit about it, and really enjoyed that experience. So looking forward to this year.
I think that'd be called concealed weapons and Second Amendment rights. Mr. Hitchens.
My name is Bill Hitchens. I represent District 161, which covers southern Effingham County and the western side of Savannah. I'm an old Marine Vietnam veteran. Served in the Marine Reserve, swapped over to the Coast Guard, made 30 years. Worked in state government for 42 years. As a state trooper, consultant with the Government Support Council, the first Homeland Security Director, and I was Commissioner of Public Safety for the last 7 years before I retired. I spent many days sitting out there and had some speaking to visitors before I came here.
Very good. And a very special note for Mr. Hitchens. He even survived working for the former governor. Mr. Holcomb. I'm sorry, Mr. Holcomb's not here. Mr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Mac Jackson. I'm from District 128, which encompasses Washington County, portion of Johnson County, portion of Jefferson County, Hancock County, Warren County, Glasscock County, and a portion of McDuffie County. I retired from the state of Georgia as a probation officer as a PO3, and was elected in 2008 to the Georgia General Assembly, and been serving on this committee for 7 years.
Mr. Lunston.
Eddie Lunsden, I represent District 12, which is northern and western Florida County, as well as all of Pacific County. I'm a retired state trooper by profession, nearly 30 years in that capacity. I have was elected to the Florida County Commission and served as county commissioner there for 5 years. All of that time serving as overseeing our public safety at the local level. I have been elected in 2012. It's my 3rd year here at the State House, and I served on public safety that time.
Thank you so much. Ms. Waits, is she here today? All right. We're pleased that we have 4 new committee members this year, and I'm going to let them go into great detail to tell you who they are, so we'll know a little bit more about them. Mr. Clark.
Representative Heath Clark, District 147, which is Warner Robins, Centerville, and Houston County. I grew up as a military brat. My dad served 20 years in the United States Air Force, retired at Robins Air Force Base, and I currently work at Robins Air Force Base as a software engineer. This is my first term as a freshman, so I'm looking forward to serving on this committee with you, Mr. Chairman, and learning a lot about public safety and, as Chairman Atwood mentioned, protecting civil liberties in the process.
Very good. Mr. Gravely.
Mike Gravely, I represent parts of Foley and Douglas County. I'm very honored to serve on this committee and have served in the past as a founder and past president of Foley Public Safety Appreciation Foundation, which is an organization for the past 6 years that has raised money and provided scholarships for our local public safety personnel for responders in Foley County. I continue to serve in an advisory position on that board, and I'm honored to serve because my first visit to the Capitol my senior year was with our esteemed chairman when he was a very young Alan Powell. He still is a very young Alan Powell. But that was my first visit to our state capitol, and I'm proud to serve on the committee today.
Very good. Well said. Mr. Petrie.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jesse Petrie. I represent District 166. I'm a freshman. That is the easternmost part of Chatham and Bryan counties outside of Savannah. And I'm a healthcare entrepreneur. And so I don't have a great deal of public safety background. I am a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. And I am thrilled to be on this committee and excited about being a part of it. Thank you.
Well said. And you'll find yourself very much at home, and we'll be testing you on those ideas. And last but not least, a very dear friend of mine, Mr. Jaspers, who, if you didn't know any better, for those of y'all who attended the committee meetings for the last 2 years, you would think that he was a member, but he was an ex officio member. But we want to welcome you to the committee, and if you would.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And, when you're looking at, you get the opportunity to select which committees you're on if you've been here, and this is my third term. And I really felt that way, that this was a committee that I saw work very closely with me on a great bill. I enjoyed working with the members and the legal counsel from this committee and all the people that were around it. And when I looked at it, I said, this is one I want to be part of. And I'm a retired county agricultural agent, so I'm an ag guy. That's what I know the most about. But growing up in a small town, I'm from Jasper, Georgia. You know everybody, you respect everybody, especially law enforcement and the great folks that protect us up in North Georgia. And I look forward to serving with you, Mr. Chairman.
And we look forward to serving with you also. We have a few other special guests or special members of this committee that aren't elected. I want to introduce, first of all, Misty Walker. Misty, I'm sorry, but you'll be sitting up here next to me at the next meeting. Misty is the committee secretary, and she is the gatekeeper. And if any of those of y'all who need to get a hold of me or the committee as a whole, if you can't find them, then you can certainly call on her. She is one of the more valuable members of this committee. Secondly, we have our committee. Where are you at, Abby? Abby, you'll be moving up here also. Abby is our research analyst for the committee, and basically she keeps us all in tow with proper information and research. And for the members, y'all need to get to know both of these. Last but not least, of course, is our legislative counsel, Julius. Would you like to say a word? You will find, to the members, you will not find a more capable nor a more humble leg counsel than Julius. Just a great guy, great to work with. Let's see. Since everybody's made the introductions, I want to say just as a prerogative of the chair to give a few instructions. 2 years ago, when I was chosen to chair this committee, my predecessors of this committee had some sort of some concerns at that time. This committee has noted that we handle a lot of volatile bills at times that created quite a bit of emotional consternation. At that time, I had heard that we had third-party groups, lobbyists, citizens groups, and as such, because of things that deal with constitutional rights, that some of them had actually gotten out of hand to the point that they would be a little bit abusive and threatening to some of the members. 2 years ago, I was very pointed, and I'm going to be very pointed again. Not that we see that, because we didn't see it over the last 2 years, and I think it's because we laid down our positions up here. This chair will not tolerate any member being abused, threatened, or any other type device. We're elected legislators, and we're here to do our job. Now, we will respect each and every citizen that comes forward, whether it be a department employee or a governmental agency or the citizens as a whole. We're here as a deliberative body to hear legislation in front of us. We had quite an active 2 years, as a lot of y'all may remember, dealing with concealed weapon carry permits and cleaning up all of that thanks to Mr. Jaspers. I will say that's the same. Those rules will be in effect. If there's anyone who wishes to relay things to the committee, do so in a civil manner, and they'll be civil with you. We certainly don't agree. We certainly understand that we'll not always be in agreement on all issues, but you know, in this system, the votes of this committee will stand. And I would appreciate your courtesy. At this time, I want to introduce, we've got a lot of the players out here and stakeholders. If we'll start on the front row, any of y'all who represent state and local agencies, if y'all would go first and just introduce yourselves.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Chuck Spayhouse. I'm the Executive Director of the Prosecuting Attorney Council, generally here on the issues that affect the district attorneys and the solicitor.
Very good.
Deborah Nesbitt, I work for the Association of County Commissioners and handle public safety issues. Sherry Lang, I'm Deputy Director with GBI over Public Affairs and also legislative liaison.
Justin Kearney with the Georgia Municipal Association.
Siobhan McNeil, Staff Director for the Southern Municipal Probation Advisory Council, SOCA.
Lawrence Bell with Compensation Strategy.
I'm Jason Johnson. I work in the Commissioner's Office, Department of Public Safety, legislative liaison.
Peter Adams, Chief Financial Officer for the Department of Public Safety.
Lydia Duke, Interim Liaison Director for the Department of Public Safety.
Jack Mangum, Budget Director, Department of Public Safety. Chris Whittington, the Director of the Georgia Public Safety Training Center. Look forward to your visit down there in the near future.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Mitchell. I'm a legislative liaison for the Georgia Department of Job Services.
Sandra Michaels with the Georgia Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. Hi, I'm Rita Rocker, and I'm the Director of Government Relations for the State Board of Pardons and Parole.
All right.
Matthew Price, legislative liaison, State Board of Pardons and Parole.
Brian Sewell, Public Safety Policy Advisor, Office of the
All right. Do we have anyone else? Well, this is a pretty good cross section. To the members, you'll be, at some point, you're going to get to know the folks of the Chiefs Association, the Sheriff's Association, and I don't see anyone with the Department of Corrections out there, but I'm sure they're going to come to the table. And a lot of other government agencies. Now, my direction to the committee members, especially the new members, if there's something or someone or a department that you need to ask questions, any of the veterans up here will be more than glad to answer those. There's a wealth of knowledge up here. Mr. Green, he's probably forgotten more than what most people up here know. He was a long-time chairman of state institutions back in the old days. So there's a wealth of information for all the members on this committee. First and foremost, I will tell you that when legislation comes forward, we're going to take it very serious. And again, I'll reiterate that it's not just about doing what's right for the public safety. It's also about living to the Constitution. Public safety is the number one issue. We have citizens out there today, because of the way society operates today, a lot of people, they don't know the jeopardy that they can be in. And we are in jeopardy. There's things that I don't even believe that legislators, a lot of times we take it for granted. But we're living in dangerous times, and there are bad people out there. So these are the things that we'll be dealing with, and that's the reason this committee can get rather emotional at times. Now, that being said, and I've said plenty, and I promise I won't be sitting in this short chair the next time where my head will probably be above the speaker. This is rather uncomfortable, and even though I have shrunk in dimension in some, I hadn't shrunk that much down. So if any of the members would like to say anything, or if there's anyone who would like to address the committee today, we have no bills in front of us today. I will tell you that the meetings have been moved this year from 2 to 3 to 3 to 4 o'clock. We did this to accommodate some of the other committees since we had so many committees that were in conflict with each other, and that works pretty good because sometimes we've dealt with some issues that an hour just didn't quite cut the mustard, because we've been known to have some lengthy discussions in here. At the prerogative of the chair, depending on what bills come forward, the chair may appoint special subcommittees to hear some of these and to get them ready, because we don't know at this point what will be, but we do know there's some bills that that'll be coming forward that'll be needed to be expedited and readily studied. Now, any other questions? Anyone want to make a comment? If there's not, then the chair will entertain a motion that this meeting be called adjourned. We have a move and we have a second. All in favor? Thank you for coming, ladies and gentlemen. We look forward to seeing you.
Chairman, we didn't mean to take your seats. We just ran out of them.
That's all right. We might have, quite frankly, we may have to move to a bigger room.
One of the 06 rooms.
Yeah. Yeah,
We were still missing 2 members.
yeah. Good deal. How you doing, brother?
Thank you.